people, don't we?
No, I'm just wondering, because I have two members.
Yeah, they look like they're locked down tonight.
Welcome to Join Me. Please enter your conference ID.
I can't get that, okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Golf Committee of Sun City West for May 13th. We have just two members who are not present. We have one that is on the telephone and three other members and myself, so therefore we have a quorum. On the minutes from our April 15th meeting, does anybody have any additions, deletions, corrections? Anything they want to change on it? No? Okay, not hearing any, we'll accept those minutes as posted. Let's go right to staff reports. First, Pat O'Hara, Golf Operations. I'm okay.
We'll get it all the way over here. All right, got a few slides since last meeting in April. Wanted to share with everyone the status of the CART rules starting Saturday, May 1st. We implemented a couple changes to the COVID. One of them had to do with the CART rules, and the other one was indoor seating. So far, it's been pretty good. Most everybody's been pretty good about the carts. We've had some issues with a few, and had dialogue with a couple of them as well. And we're trying to help. There's some instances out there where people might have a spouse that has some health issues, and they don't want to bring anything home. So we've worked on getting medical flags for those groups. All in all, it's been pretty good. And like I said, it's probably been a dozen conversations or so with the people that we've heard about. Indoor seating, we've expanded to 3 to 4 tables, and we'll continue to expand as we get a little bit more into the summer months. Kind of put it in perspective for you, one of the things that we're trying to get taken care of are the misters on the patios, because that would be nice. And we reached out sometime in early March, and we were able to get on the schedule for May 24th. How about that? So we were looking at going to a different vendor, but we haven't had any luck. So May 24th is when the misters should be coming online, if not sooner. Oh my. Okay, good. Just a reminder to everybody, we're trying to encourage everybody to keep using the 90-degree cart path as best we can. This gives Todd and his staff a chance to do what they need to do and find out the extent of the Bermuda underneath. So everybody, again, has been, for the most part, been good. 30 feet from tees and greens seems to be debatable on how far 30 feet really is. 10 giant steps has always worked for me, but we just try to remind them. Mother Day special. This is a special pricing over at Grandview. So we've got 20% off there. And again, I'll want to share this because it's always good to see maybe your name or a neighbor or a playing partner in here. 15 or 16 hole-in-ones a month is typical, and I think I counted 20 on this one. So that kind of goes hand in hand with rounds being up. I wanted to share this because a lot of people think of this during the winter months, but actually this is a really good source for keeping in the know as far as course closures and aerification and things of that nature. Todd does a good job keeping those posted. And it's something not only weather, but just course conditions. Update on the schedule for closures. Right now we've got Grandview closed for this next 5 days. Green team still keeps going. Last week they had 85 players. During the middle of the winter or our busy time, they'll have close to 125 to 140. Lessons are going well. Wanted to just touch on this. One of the concerns going forward with the changeover in lessons was lack of revenue. And what we're finding is that we're comparable, if not exceeding what Reed West was doing, not so much in the lessons from these gentlemen, but from the rent that we're collecting and this. So if you add the two together, it's equal to what we were taking the other way. Talking golf, we still have our radio show going on. I would like to invite anybody that wants to come on to please do so. We'd love to talk about your club or some instances that you might have that we can tell people how great golf in Sun City West is. And I think I shared this with you the other day, but I was listening to the radio and I was on the 101 in Northern and heard the show, heard 103.1. So I think depending on what time of day you get, different levels of broadcast. Our program with the Golden Ball giveaway, kind of a funny story. I was out hitting balls at Desert Trails the other day, and I got one in my basket. And ended up handing it back, and they recycled it. Yeah, it's in my bag. I've played 18 holes with it. But we're seeing that, and numbers are going up. We max out at $200 a month, and it's been a good partnership for us. One of the smaller projects that we have going on right now is our logos changing out. Since we don't typically change out our fleets, we haven't since I've been here. We buy them as we need them. We own our carts. On the left is the old logo. You can barely see it. I was looking at the records. We replaced those logos 7 years ago. And so the ones that really get faded quickly are the ones over at Grandview because they face that south sun. And the new ones were just put on the other day. So we're trying to keep them to Del Webb standard. Here's a slide that I wanted to share. Linda Plastis does a lot of comparison for us in golf ops. We had a meeting with one of our residents a week or so ago, and the conversation about gender playing and what the mix is. And this slide here indicates for peak season that, and this is for current year, 60% of the people in our database that we know, that we can identify, are male, and female was 26%. The unknown are those players that played that may be public or in our database that we don't have a classification for. So that was an interesting slide. And then this one is for yearly total. So I have a peak season. So that's 60% for men. During the whole year, it's 62%. So maybe a little bit more play for men in the summer months, it sounds like. This is a breakout of the same information, but by golf course. When I look through this, it looks like the ladies tend to play more of the executives. I'd like to find out why that is, but that's what it seems to be. Maybe a little more user-friendly, don't know. But you can see by the blue the popular courses for the men. Wanted to throw this in here as well. This is Trail Ridge Men's Club. They're going to be closed this summer. We got all of the men's, four men's officers from the regulation courses together. And we thought that we could probably alleviate some compaction by allowing them to play on Thursday. And that's their schedule for Trail Ridge. They're going to go to Grandview for a few weeks, then Deer Valley, Pebblebrook, and be playing on Thursdays. And I threw this up here for those that are interested. This is a slide Todd put together. It's proposed golf course closures. This is not in stone by any means, but the yellow blocks indicate the closures for the summer in the upcoming years. So some good information, but it could change. And that's all I have. One other thing before we change, I did hand out a flyer. June 1st is Women's Golf Day. We've participated in this for the last 3 or 4 years. We're going to do it again this year, and our extent of participation is to encourage ladies to play. Tuesday being Ladies' Day also comes out in this, but we're donating some prizes and having a raffle for those that play on that Tuesday and hand out some gifts. So I believe that's all I have.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Yes, Pat? Norman?
Well, I just have a comment. I've noticed that there's a new insert in the hole that helps retrieve the ball out. I guess it's not on every course yet, but boy, those are a lot of help. They're really a lot of help. Great. Cup saver.
Okay, any other questions, Patty? No. You have another one, Tim?
I have one for Pat, but it has to do with the budget. I can
Oh,
wait.
okay.
I can wait until Pete
Okay,
talks.
all right. Tom, do you have anything? Maybe it doesn't.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on. And we'll have Pete, financials.
Finance before, so I won't spend a lot of time on each one. For the month of March, we did see a little shortfall in the revenue. I attribute that to the March budget was a very aggressive number as I looked at the spread that we gave, as well as I think we finally were emerging from the non-shotgun type restrictions on the tee times and things like that. The standard, we're still exceeding in cart rentals, range balls, and showing shortfalls in merchandise and food and beverage. And I too late because we just posted our April for the budget and finance, but I'm beginning to finally see merchandise and food and beverage move to a positive, if not right at budget. So that's very encouraging to see that restore itself. We were able to do some expense offsets, such that the 88,000 or so revenue shortfall was offset by 18,000 for a $71,000 deficit against the budget. But one of those items in there was a timing issue on the taxes and insurance. That also includes our licenses, and the month before we were a $20,000 favorable. So that was just not lined up correctly on the timing, but on a year-to-date, we're fine. So moving to year-to-date, the golf fees that have carried us the whole year are still in a positive, as well as the ancillary. There's the merchandise and food. I was briefly talking with Tim before the meeting, and what's another item, Tim, that restores itself in the upcoming budget is, the deficits we've had in food and beverage and merchandise can bring a pretty healthy amount of net revenue. We did real well on expense management year to date, unless you have any questions on that. 324,000 offset to the 33,000 shortfall, such that at this juncture through March, 9 months into the fiscal year, we're 345 ahead of our budget. Last year with the rate hike and all around increases, 971,000 more revenue. You'd expect some more expenses with that, especially in labor and utilities, which were starting to shut down last year. We're 763,000 ahead of prior years. So positive numbers all around. And any questions on any of that?
Anybody have any questions of Pete?
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Okay, now comes the important person, Todd.
All right. Just a couple things today. I have an update on the fifth management plan from Arizona Department of Water Resources. It has changed. I gave you an update on the February plan, and it has since changed, and I expect it to change again before it's all said and done. But anyway, before we get out of this meeting, it's going to be all different information. Anyway. All right, so as you know, the ADWR fifth management plan, it's to improve the active management area groundwater supplies through conservation, reduce groundwater withdrawals, and then our conservation or the fifth management plan will go into effect January 1st of 2025. So we still have a few years to go, but I know talking to the water department, they wanted to kind of get everything worked out by the end of this year, this calendar year. So we'll see if that happens. And so hopefully we'll definitely know what we need to do as far as, turf removal and saving water, so. All right, this is just a sample of the calculator that they provided for the fifth management plan. It's kind of hard to read there. But it takes into account the number of holes, of course, total turf acres, water surface acreage, low water use acreage, and the year that the golf course was built. So I use Grandview for an example on the left-hand column here side. And it gives us 648.27 acre feet. And it gives us about 40 acres of water just based on our water surface acreage. And then Trail Ridge, if you look at that, it gives us almost 92 acres of water based on our surface acreage on the lakes. So we get quite a bit. If you have a lot of water out there, water holes, we do benefit from that. And then these are just the management plans, the third management plan, which we're in right now. And then you can see over here, we have the February plan that I presented at the last meeting. Thank you, Bill. And then the April 28th proposal. And then you can see some of the allotments that we have in the fifth management plan on that. This is a sheet that gives you a little better idea of what we have. You can see the total turf reduction acres, 18 at Pebblebrook, 7 at Stardust, 18 at Grandview, 11 acres at Echo Mesa for 54 acres total that we're looking at removing for the fifth management plan. And it highlighted in yellow on the far right column, you can see where we actually gain water. So the bottom line is we have 3915 acre feet of water or 45 acre feet more water in the fifth management plan than what we currently have right now in the third management plan. Yes.
If they're gonna change it again, I hope it's in the same direction.
Yeah, I do too. So this is actually pretty good. So it gives us about 6.5 acre feet per golf course more in the fifth management plan in 2025 than what we currently have right now, which is hard to believe, but we're able to do that because we can combine all 7 golf courses into one group. Now, if we had to report each golf course individually, we might be in a little bit of trouble, where we'd have to take out a lot of turf, especially at Grandview and Pebblebrook, the larger golf courses. But the way it stands right now, it's actually in pretty good shape. But we still are going to need to take out turf, as you can see, you know, the 18 acres and at Pebblebrook and the 18 acres over at Grandview. So. All right, so just kind of a summary. Fifth management plan is still in development and scheduled to go into effect January 1st of 2025. Conservation project will include turf reduction, which would be our first 4 our older golf courses, Pebblebrook, Stardust, Grandview, and Echo Mesa, for a total of 54 acres. And then they're looking at having a flex account for dry years and wet years. So in the wet years, we'd be able to bank some water, have some credits in the bank. And so if we have a year like we did last year, where we only received half inch of rainfall during the monsoon season, we could dip into that account for the overdraft. So that's going to be a big help. All right, and then our goals with this fifth management plan: reduce, update, and develop, reduce groundwater usage, update our existing conservation programs, and then develop new management strategies through turf reduction. And I'd like to also mention there's a new turf that I just found out about earlier this week. It's called TIF Turf, or TIF Tough Turf is what it's called. And they claim that it uses about 40% less water, and it's a Bermuda grass. And so that's something that we're going to experiment with this summer. We're going to see if we can't set aside. They only have 40 acres right now in their field, so we're going to see if we can get about 5,000 square summer and resod those. All right, and then putting green project. Last Thursday, May 6th, you can see we started by sod cutting. The picture on the right-hand side, we came in and we sod cut the whole putting green and the whole complex. Got that ready, then we brought in the skid loader and we scraped all that off. Now, I did have some questions of why we didn't save that sod. The reason we didn't do that, it's actually more trouble than it's worth, because we'd have to go out there, we'd have to prep areas on the golf course, we'd have to lay the sod down, we'd have to keep it wet, plus it's still holding ryegrass and Poa trivialis. So then once you establish it, then it has to go through transition again. So it just really wasn't worth it. And just a couple more pictures of the laser leveling. What's that? Okay. Okay. We can't advance it. Can you get it to the next picture? All right, so we did the laser leveling, we did some staking, trying to get the grade and everything. And again, these are old pictures. If you go over there and look at it today, it's totally different. You really get a good idea of what the green's going to look like, not only the size, but also all the contours on the green. It really does look good. Okay, I think there's one more. Okay. And I talked about the leveling. You know, the goal of this project was to not only enlarge the green, but was to kind of reduce the slope, so it didn't have so much slope on it. It's probably going to have about 55 to 60% of the green is going to be relatively flat, and then the rest will have a little bit of a slope to it. And I use the yellow arrow right here. Over on this bottom left corner, that's where you're going to have most of the slope. So you'll still be able to practice your downhill and side hill putts on that area. But there's going to be an awful lot of flat area on that green. And then this is going to be this is actually going to be our largest green now by about 100 square feet. Okay, right behind Echo Mesa. So it's up there in the 10,002 as far as size on that. So, and then real quick, just a timeline on this. Tomorrow, Friday the 14th, we're going to map out the drainage and the irrigation. And then the following week, we'll install the 3/8 natural pea gravel. We'll have a 4-inch base of that after we get the drainage in. And then we'll cap it with the 10 inches of sand, the USGA root zone mix. And then we'll sprig it the first part of June. And hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll be able to get out there and putt on it sometime mid-August, maybe even early August if the weather's right. So, and that's all I have.
Okay. Go ahead, you go first.
Regarding the wow factor on this, this is a day or so old, but just from a size perspective, look at that picture, and then Katie, can you go to slide number 8? There's the old green.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is this still within the footprint of the edge?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And there's going to be an area that's not going to be green surface around there. And we need to have that for our greens mowers to turn on, our top dressers, our sprayers and stuff like that. Because you never want to turn on top of the green. You always have a turnout somewhere. So we're going to have a band around that green. But yeah, we pulled that green all the way down into here. A lot of room. Excited about that. So if you
Go
get a
ahead.
chance, go by and take a look at it. We have it all fenced off, but you can look through the fence and you can see that. And,
Norman, do you have a question, Norman?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed something there. Did you say the finish should be in mid-August?
yeah, I'm hoping to get back out on there or be able to putt on that mid-August, yes.
Okay, anybody else have any questions of Todd? No? Okay, Todd, thank you.
Okay, and if anybody has any interest of actually going out there and touring the project, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to meet you out there and we can walk through there. I can show you exactly what we're doing and what we did and how it's gonna turn out. Okay. Once we were gonna sod it, but we changed our mind earlier this week that we're gonna go ahead and sprig it, which is live stolons. And we'll put those out there. They're gonna need to be watered for about 7 days on the hour, every hour during the daytime. And then we can start backing off a little bit. And usually, they'll put a fiber in there with the stolons and they'll shoot it out and it's green. So it'll look nice and green for about a day and a half. Then it goes straw brown. It almost looks like it dies overnight, but it's not dead. It's still alive. It's just the fiber. You lose the color of the fiber after you water it for a little bit. So it looks good. And the beauty about that is that we'll be able to start out at a lower mowing height. You know, if you put sod down, it's hard to get sod that's cut at 1/8 of an inch. It's usually quite a bit higher than that. So then you have to work that height down on the greens, and that takes time. And usually you get into scalping and everything. With the stolons, you could start out at 1/8 of an inch cutting that. And so that's even going to help us be able to get out there a little sooner and be putting on that. And that's it.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, staff. Okay, first up on the new business is the, I guess, the financial plan budget for 21-22. I don't know who's handling that, Pete?
It's just Q&A for any questions anyone may have.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I have a question, and this is on the golf division. Under special events, you're budgeting a loss of $2,200 next year? What's that all about?
I don't have it in front of me, but probably the 3 down from where you're at. It's right there.
It's about the third line down.
Sorry, Tim, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. That's all the question I had. Yeah. Oh, so you're still going to have events, but we're footing the bill. Okay. Right. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, we'll move on to the other one, the Briarwood Country Club. You got that one, I believe, Bill, right?
Yeah, thank you, Bob. This is a bit of an informational piece for you. Nate Pomeroy, the GM at Briarwood, reached out several months ago. As they were assembling their budget, they operate more on a calendar year, more so than a fiscal year. And they were looking at, over the last couple of years, they were looking at their water expenditures and if there was a way that they could potentially save some money. And so we were asked to take a look at the contract that currently exists. And back in '09, the rec centers in Briarwood entered into a lease agreement for type 2 type groundwater. The agreement basically is the allowance of 333 acre-feet of water to be withdrawn and utilized by Briarwood. And the term of the contract basically runs through the year 2034 with a 25-year addition. Mr. O'Hara keeps accusing me, and I'll be pushing daisies by the time that thing ends. But looking at the near term, I think Briarwood had some recent improvements to their pump system, and they put a casing in that was a little bit smaller than what their original one was. I think they had like a 16-inch casing. They went to 12. So they can only draw out so much water. But they're paying for 333 acre-feet of water that they seemingly can't use. So we went and took a look, and Todd does all the annual workings with them relative to their annual water use and their submissions to the Arizona Department of Water Resources. And they're averaging about 200 acre-feet of our water a year to supplement what they get. And so their attorney basically took the agreement, looked at it, and negotiated with us. And Briarwood wanted to settle on a 250 acre-foot number. They said they had a couple of improvements. They wanted to expand a little bit and try to fix an area on the golf course, and they needed a little water to do it. But anyway, they have settled on a not-to-exceed 250 number. And if they use less than that, essentially they basically pay for what they use. And in turn, it frees up 83 acre-feet of water for us. So moving forward, and as you well know, any kind of water resources that you have in the state of Arizona, that's gold in your pocket. That's a good thing to have. Going on. So basically, the only change in the agreement that exists is the reduction from 333 to 250 as a not-to-exceed number. Go ahead, Katie, if you don't mind. And those of you who enjoy mathematics, this is the formula that they use to determine how much they pay us annually. It certainly isn't a large amount of money overall when you consider what the value of acre-feet of water are. But again, this contract was developed in '09, and it is what it is. And we are contractually tied through 2034. But this scenario here has the amount of money that we charge per acre foot tied to the Consumer Product Index, and that changes. And there's every 5 years it gets adjusted, and we kind of move on as far as that goes. Go ahead, Katie, thank you. There is an example of the formula carried out in real dollars. And so they're basically paying $168.69 as an adjusted rate for an acre-foot of water. Very generous on our side, but again, the benefit to us in a win-win situation, Briarwood gets a little bit off cheaper on the annual basis, but we get to bank additional acre-feet of water. And when we're talking water conservation and those types of things, that could be some serious money in our pocket down the road. I think there may be one more. And we laughingly talk about the fifth management plan. And again, that changes seemingly on the day. But once that thing gets developed and gets implemented in 2025, there'll be some serious options for us to take a look at any kind of unused acre feet that we have, potentially looking at another lease arrangement with another golf course or user at that point, and the dollar value of the acre feet will not be anywhere close to what we were doing in '09, and it would be a very sizable income hit for us, very positive. potentially now, I think they're sitting at about $1,500 to $2,000 an acre foot. So it's about $250,000 to us right now if we were to do anything with those 83 acres, and times that by 10 years, and you got yourself some sizable money. So, all good there. And that's information, this is going to go to the governing board workshop, I believe. BNF and governing board workshop on June 4, and then the end of June to the governing board for approval and autograph. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions on that for Bill?
I have some questions. As a person who does like the math, this works out to 5 cents per 100 gallons of water.
Yeah,
It's very, very cheap.
yeah.
But I have another question, and this, I've been trying to figure this out, and I've been doing some reading on water rights and stuff. We're grandfathered into certain water rights that Mike bought way back when, okay? What exactly does that entitle us to?
You want to go, Todd? Or, I think our number right now is a little over 4,000. I don't know the specific number in my head, but I can certainly get that to you. So we are allowed to withdraw, right, 4,200 acre feet of water per year.
Okay,
We have the rights to.
right.
What we actually withdraw is considerably less than that. As we irrigate our golf courses and as sprinkler heads improve and technology improves, we don't have to throw as much water to keep the courses as good as they are. And so now with the Arizona Department of Water Resources and their water conservation programs that they're trying to implement, we are sitting in what is called Plan 3, excuse me. Plan 4 takes effect in 2023, which basically limits us as to how much water we can throw. And I think Todd's slides the other day, or today, had us down to like 3,900,
Right.
maxing us out. So we have then and therefore a reserve from what we're really allowed to pull to what they're limiting us to pull.
That's the point that I didn't quite understand. The rights have an amount on it that is ours, okay?
That's our bank.
Right, but the management plan is going to only allow us to pull a certain number.
Yes, sir.
That number is less than what our rights are.
Correct.
So whatever our rights are that we're not allowed to throw, we have available to make to other people?
As we sit here today, yes.
Yeah, we own all those water rights. Those are ours, those grandfathered rights, those type 2. So we own those, but the state, they can tell you how much you can pull from the ground. So anything over that, that's ours to, if we want to lease, if we want to sell it, or whatever we want to do with it. They can't take those away. They don't have anything to do with our, no, you don't want to sell it, you want to lease it.
Lease them, right. Right, okay, that explains it. That was the part that I was missing, what the rights actually entitle us to.
Yeah. And, you know, if that slide were up, I don't know if you can get that slide up, Katie, the one that Todd put up there where he was showing, did you have the slide up, Todd, that showed the acre feet of water per course?
Yes. It's one more, right there. Yeah, you can see the current allotments over on the left hand, the third management plan. You can see the allotments per golf course. And then
So it's sizable. A recent golf course built out on the 303 Cotton Lane, help me, Sterling Pass?
Sterling Grove.
Sterling Grove. They are leasing water from like 3 or 4 entities to get the amount of water they need to water that one golf course.
Right.
So what's really not on there, where I was trying to go is with, Todd talks about turf reduction. But Plan 4 and Plan 5, I think the state, as Arizona continues to grow and develop, I think they're limiting golf courses now. I mean, you can have X amount of acres of land,
Right.
but they're going to limit you to 90 acres of turf.
Turf, right.
And that is sizable. And then Todd's got, unfortunately not on this particular slide, but Todd's got a slide that shows all of our golf courses and the amount of turf that there are. And I think when it reflects the turf reduction, that's something I think that Todd is bringing forward to kind of keep us within a marginal rate as far as okayness with the Arizona Department of Water Resources, but we are grandfathered in. From what we're knowing and hearing is that we're in pretty good shape.
Right.
So, but the value of acre feet of water is sizable, and it's, I mean, Sun City West is sitting in a golden chair.
To your point, Tim, where's the conservation in that?
Well,
Right.
that was the missing point. If, they're limiting how much we can expel, throw out.
But yet we can go ahead and sell it to somebody else who can
Right.
throw it to get back to the same total.
Right, right,
So that's kind of an interesting.
yeah. But it was the water wars from way back when you got the rights to the water under your property,
Right.
so. Okay, thank you.
Todd, just don't spend all that money in one place, okay? Are there any other questions for Bill on water? No? Okay. With that, I'll go around. I'll start with the committee members. Does any committee member have any comments, concerns, and other questions that may not have been heard? Norman?
No, I'm good.
Patty? Tim?
Patty, you stole my thunder. I wanted to thank Bob for heading up the committee. When you look at the budget and you realize, excuse me, that golf makes up between a quarter and a third of our operating budget, it really is an important part of this community, besides just the recreation for us golfers. So thanks, we're gonna miss you, and Sun City West is gonna miss you too.
Okay, thank you. I'll adjust that. Tom, did you have anything, Tom? Okay, all right. With that, let me just, before we adjourn the meeting, just say I want to thank all the committee members this year. I mean, you people are the ones that really are out there and know what's got to be done and what should be done. So I want to thank you for a good committee this year. Just remind you that, you know, next year, if you would like to be on the committee, I think the rule is you got to submit, again, to the rec centers, send in an application so you can be considered for whoever heads it up. And as Tim says, yes, this will be my last meeting here. I got another board meeting. My wife and I are moving from Sun City West. June 1st right now is the set date, so we'll miss everybody, but it was a personal choice we had to make just to where we wanted to be at. So, but I want to thank everybody for all the good work they did, and especially you, Pat. You did a lot for me, helping, and Todd. We can't say enough about what you do for, I mean, not only am I looking at the golf course, but boy, I play lawn bowls, and I can't believe what he does just on those greens itself, so thank you. Okay, with that, if I have nothing else, we'll adjourn this meeting, and as Patty said, yeah, Tom? Oh. Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, all right, so everybody heard. No, she's not talking about us, I don't think. He got up from the table, I think. And no, they're talking about something else. Okay, anyway, with that, again, thank you, everyone. Be the last meeting. As Todd said, if anybody wants to take a ride over to Pebblebrook and see that great big green that he's preparing over there. And we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.